Hi everyone, in today's tactics video I'm going to check out the rules of the just announced Astra Militarum Gaunt's Ghosts. This of course was announced on the Warhammer community website, and if you want to check out the article I've got a link in the description below. What excites me the most about this though is probably the potential insight this gives us into the new Astra Militarum Codex, which I'm hoping comes out pretty soon. So the Gaunt's Ghost unit comprises 6 models, and the article indicates these can be included as a headquarters slot, without affecting any wider army doctrines, i.e. Cadians. The article doesn't give insight into how much these cost either from a cash money point of view or points cost point of view. But let's start with some overall rules that affect the entire unit. So the entire unit receives the benefit of the Tanith Camo Cloak rule, whereby they can't be shot at by units that are more than 18 inches away, and those that can do incur a -1 to hit. So this is really adding to the survivability by simply being unable to be shot at or harder to hit. They've also got the traditional sniper style rule of having an improved save while receiving the benefit of cover. And they can also deploy anywhere in the battlefield as long as more than 9 inches away from the enemy deployment zone or enemy models. So what we now have is a really decent sniper unit to use, as the closest thing being the Ratlings have a similar rule but can't be within 18 inches of the enemy units or the deployment zone. And leading this unit is of course Colonel Commissar Bragg Gaunt. If we look at the top right to start, his core rules are identical to the current Lord Commissar unit with weapon skill ballistic skill of 2+. He's equipped with his chainsaw, which has an improved AP-1 flat 2 damage, which is a real bonus versus standard chainsaws at AP 0 and 1 damage. And his additional attacks are D3 as opposed to 1, so really good. Now a great rule he also has is the auto pass morale test rule. I'm hoping this gives us a bit of insight into what the new codex has in store for our commissars and lord commissars, as given all the power creep the other armies have had with the 9th edition codexes, an auto passing bubble rule for commissars wouldn't be too big an ask in 9th edition. It could look something like all units within 6 inches auto pass leadership tests after a model has been executed, but that unit receives -1 to weapon skill and ballistic skill to represent the fact the remaining troops are petrified and their combat ability is weakened. And finally, a smaller rule is that if Gaunt is taken as your warlord, he has to take the inspiring leader warlord trait. And that basically means all units within 6 inches +1 to their leadership. Okay, so the next model is Colonel Quebec. His core rules are the same as a current company commander model, with no mention of him being able to give Astra Militarum orders. His primary weapon is a hotshot carbine, which is Assault 3, Strength 3, AP-3, flat 1 damage. This is a massive improvement on both a lasgun or a hotshot lasgun with its 18-inch range and AP-2. Assault 3 is fantastic, as it's obviously far superior to Rapid Fire 1 or sometimes Rapid Fire 2 if you give the order front rank fire, second rank fire. He also has a command point style rule, whereby you get to refund 1 command point for any stratagems used by this unit. Right, so Major Rawn has the same core rules as a platoon commander, and carries a straight silver knife with the AP-1, which obviously helps. His additional rule then means that he can pick 1 enemy unit that's within the engagement range, and they fight last. So again, really helping this unit to survive, being unable to be shot at, harder to shot at, and now always fighting first. Super cool. Okay, now Master Sniper Larkin. You can see carrying a very nice set of rules, with ballistic skill of 2+ and 2 wounds. Him having ballistic skill of 2+ is fantastic, as there's only a handful of Astra Militarum models with such a high level of shooting accuracy. His 2 wounds at strength 3 is also a new entry, as currently no models have this style of setup. Now his long las is fantastic. Strength 5 AP-2 D3 damage. Now this is a sniper rifle and poos all over the current sniper rifle that Astra Militarum has access to, with its strength 4 AP-0 flat 1 damage. Yawn. It's then further boosted by 6 to wound, giving an additional D3 mortal wounds. Excellent. And lastly, when the Gaunt's Ghosts include the Master Sniper, any units they target that are within cover do not receive the benefit of being in cover. So here I really hope that all Astra Militarum units can access the long las, and I'm hopeful given the upgrade frame that's been announced as well, seems to include a long las style weapon in it. Now an interesting model is Try Again Bragg, which does a great story of capturing the story of this character. He's a ginormous big strong bloke, but isn't very gifted from a marksmanship point of view. Got a ballistic skill of 5+, strength 4 and 2 wounds, and a leadership of 7. So the strength 4 makes him as strong as a catachin but with 2 wounds. And his ballistic skill of 5+ is offset by his unique rule, which allows him to shoot again if the first 2 shots he made both missed. Awesome to play and doing a great job representing the law on the tabletop. He also thankfully doesn't experience a penalty for moving and shooting a heavy weapon, and I'm going to assume that all models have the straight silver knife. So Bragg will be delivering his 2 strength 4 attacks with AP -1. And the last is Sgt McCall, who carries a very strong data sheet with his weapon skill, ballistic skill of 2+, 2 wounds and 4 attacks. His las carbine is an assault 3, strength 3, so just like the hotshot carbine carried by Colonel Quebec, but with no AP. As said for the hotshot carbine and long las, if this las carbine is giving insight into what the wider Astra Militarum troops may be getting, then things are on the up. As said before, the power creep across other armies in 9th edition has been quite extreme so far. So for all Astra Militarum infantry to have assault 3 isn't by no means too big an ask. The sergeant is then topped off with a unit-wide 5+ invul save, which is obviously very, very strong. Right, so what we have here is a unit that is challenging for your opponent to pin down, is small survivable when in cover, never fails morale, can cheaply use stratagems, and has an invul save to further boost its survivability. This is obviously fantastic and could make for some very early objective grabbing, being stubborn to remove off the objective. A potential concern here is the simple depth of rules for only 6 models. A problem you could run into is simply forgetting some of them when playing, and consequently not getting value for the points you've invested into your army list. This however seems to be the way that 9th edition is heading. Having briefly read up on the new Adeptus Mechanicus rules and played against them once, they too now carry a very complex set of rules. But do these rules for the Gaunt's ghosts capture the lore of the ghosts, with their camo cloaks and superior fighting abilities? Absolutely. Right, so what do you think of those rules? And do you think they give us insight into what to expect from the Astra Militarum Codex for 9th edition, hopefully coming soon? If you enjoyed this video and want to support me, you can do so with a like, comment, or by subscribing. Or if you're feeling super generous, you can support me on Patreon. Patreon Platoon, sound off! Tyler Sergeant DuPont, Sergeant Adal, Sergeant Gilliam, Sergeant Sims, Veteran Brady, Veteran Gibson, Veteran Hall, Veteran Lundeen, Veteran Mitchell, Veteran Witten.